I pumped at 3 a.m., 6 a.m., 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 12 p.m., 2 p.m., 4 p.m., 6 p.m., 8 p.m., 10 p.m., 12 a.m., 2 a.m. If you're a pumping mom, this definitely rings true for you. You are pumping around the clock, all hours of the day. And then there's power pumping. What is power pumping? How do I get my milk supply up? What do I eat to get my milk supply up? Oh no, my milk supply dipped. What do I do? Mom Cozy, Dr. Brown's, Philip Avent. What do I use? So many pumps to choose. Hey friends, welcome back to Meg's Cozy Corner, or welcome if you're new. Today, I'm going to be going over my pumping schedule, what I've done these past 11 months that have helped me and kept my mental sanity, how I maintained and increased my milk supply, what my pumping schedule looks now in comparison to when I was freshly postpartum, all of the pumps and equipment that I've used, and what I wish I knew before becoming an exclusive pumper. If you're new here, my name is Maggie. I talk about all things motherhood, breastfeeding, faith, homemaking, and just everyday cozy slow living. If you like this kind of content and you feel like you could really resonate with the things that we talk about here, I would love it if you gave me a subscribe and join my channel here at Meg's Cozy Corner. So as always, get comfy and cozy, get your favorite warm drink, and let's talk about my exclusive pumping journey part 2. So first, I'd like to talk about my pumping schedule and what that looks like now in comparison to when I first began this pumping journey 11 months ago. As of right now, I'm actually only pumping 4 times a day. I don't pump in the middle of the night anymore. Noah started to sleep through the night, so I felt like it was a little unnecessary for me to continue pumping because if he was breastfeeding directly from my breast, I'd be sleeping anyways. So I didn't really feel like it was necessary. Plus, I was really enjoying getting that few extra hours of straight sleep. So as of right now, my pumping schedule looks a little bit something like this. I will pump when I wake up. I usually wake up with Noah at around 6:30, 7 a.m. So I will have my first pump while I'm brushing my teeth, washing my face, having breakfast with Noah. Then after he wakes up from his nap, we hang out for a bit and then we go have some lunch. And while we're having lunch, I will pump again. That is usually around 11 in the morning, 11:30. It's not really like a strict schedule. It's just in and around like that window. And then my third pump of the day will be around when he wakes up from his afternoon nap, around 3:30 p.m. Sometimes I'll pump at 4 p.m. And then my last pump of the day will be right after I put Noah down for his bedtime. I will go and take a shower and then I sit and I have my last pump of the day at around 8 p.m. Now, is this sustainable? Am I getting enough milk to feed him with only pumping 4 times a day? And the answer is actually yes. I'm not sure exactly the science behind it, but I guess my body at this point knows how much milk Noah needs because of months and months of pumping. So yes, I am basically getting right now just enough milk to feed him for the day. I'm not really getting anything extra to freeze like I was before, but that's fine because I don't really plan to pump that much longer. As long as I'm getting enough milk during the day so that I don't have to dig into my freezer stash yet, then that's totally fine with me because in those early days of pumping, I was pumping around the clock every 2 hours, every 3 hours. I was also power pumping. I will explain what that is in a little bit, but I was on the clock pumping like 8 or 9 times a day. So I have a really big stash of milk in my freezer and my mom's freezer as well. So you may be wondering, when do I plan to stop pumping? And honestly, the goal originally was for me to stop pumping at 12 months postpartum, but as of right now, I'm not so sure that's the case anymore. I think I might go until 13 to 14 months postpartum, but it's a little bit up in the air right now. If I can make it to 12 months, which is only in a few more weeks, I will be super proud and happy with myself. But the main factor that's going to indicate whether or not I stop pumping at 12 months is Noah. So if he is showing me that he is eating more solids, then I will stop at 12 months. But as of right now, he is in the stage of more trying things. And if he's really enjoying something, like he will eat a little bit of it, but he's not really eating a lot of it. So I still want him to get his main source of nutrition, which is my milk. So I still want to make sure he's getting enough calories that he needs to continue growing to this big healthy boy. I'm a little bit nervous to stop pumping at 12 months and then he doesn't really eat as much as he should be in terms of eating solids. And then I dig into my freezer stash and I don't have enough for him to give him enough breast milk until he's a year and a half. My goal is for Noah to be on breast milk until he's a year and a half old. I don't know, that's just something that I had planned. As we know, as we've said before here on this channel, being a mom, we know things never go according to the plan, but ideally I would like for him to drink the breast milk for as long as possible. As long as he is getting the breast milk at least until a year old, I know that I've done my job to ensure that he's got what's best for him. So with all that being said, we know my pumping schedule is now 4 times a day, but what did that look like in the beginning when I was in those early days postpartum? And honestly, I was pumping around the clock like every 2 hours, and then sometimes I'd push push it to every 3 hours. Wait. Before we get ahead of ourselves, let's back it up to the early days right when I had Noah. So right when I had Noah, if you watched my part 1 video of how I became a pumping mom, then you know that I was breastfeeding directly on the breast in those early days for about the first 2 months of Noah's life. So in those early days, he was feeding on my breast. I would pump only from the other breast to get the excess milk out so that I wasn't so uncomfortable, because I dealt with a lot of engorgement and I was in a lot of discomfort. So I wasn't really pumping that much in the beginning. When he was around 1 month old, I started noticing his love for the bottles. So I started to pump more. So yeah, at around 1 month old, I started to pump a lot more, and I was pumping like every 2 hours on the dot. I felt like I had just finished pumping. I looked at the clock and it was time to pump again. But it was so worth it because Noah is 99th percentile, so I just feel so proud of it that all my hard work paid off. So yeah, so my pumping schedule in the beginning looks something like this. I would pump in the middle of the night when Noah would wake up at around 2 to 3 a.m. Usually it would be around 3:30 a.m. So I would sit and I would use my wearable breast pump and sit and feed him and change him while I pumped. I would pump when he would wake up around 6 a.m. when my husband would be getting ready for work, and then I would pump again at 8 a.m. and then usually again at 10 a.m. and then again around 12 p.m. and then at 2 p.m. then at 4 p.m. then around dinner time around 5:30, 6 p.m. and then I would pump again at 8 p.m. and then I would pump again at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. And then usually that would be like my longest stretch would be from like 10:30, 11 p.m. until my middle of the night pump. So I know that seems like a lot, but honestly, like when you're in the thick of like the newborn trenches, as they say, like you're just going with the motions, you're just doing whatever you have to do. So yeah, in the early days, I was pumping around 8 times a day. It was a lot, but it paid off because I have a huge milk stash in my freezers. So next, I'd like to talk about my milk supply and if I experienced any dips. And actually, yes, I did. So at around 3 months postpartum, I did notice that my milk supply had gone down slightly a little bit. Had a really nice friend reached out to her, had suggested that I try a different pump because I had been using the Mom Cozy S12 Pro wearable pump up until this point and it hadn't let me down. I was getting lots of milk. But she had let me know that in those first 3 months, your body's just going to make so much milk because it knows that that's what your baby needs. And your milk supply is still being established. She had let me know that like a wall pump would probably be a bit stronger to get more milk out. So I had actually purchased the Dr. Brown's pump that plugs into the wall. I'm going to see if I can insert a picture here for you guys to see if you're interested to check it out. Honestly, it's really good. I was looking for a wall pump that was a decent price. So I went ahead and purchased it. I think it was like $150 or something like that. Not too crazy. So using that pump really did help to increase my milk supply, get all the clogs out, and just decrease my engorgement. Things that I noticed really did affect my milk supply was if I didn't really sleep well that night, I noticed a huge dip in my milk supply. Whereas on nights when I would get a lot of extra sleep when like my husband would be home on Saturdays, I would notice an increase in my milk supply. If you're curious about some of the foods that I ate that helped increase my milk supply, things like oat milk, lots of protein, lots and lots of water, lots of fiber, lots of healthy foods. I noticed that when I made the transition from almond to oat milk, it really did make a difference in my milk supply. I tried to eat as many foods with oats as possible, so I got like oatmeal cookies and I would put oats in my yogurt. Drinking enough water is a huge one. That's a very simple adjustment that you could make to increase your milk supply, is just drink lots and lots of water, because breast milk is basically 80% water, and if you're not drinking enough, where's that water coming from? Not only will you be dehydrated, but you're going to see a big dip in your milk supply as well. So let's talk about what pumps I used. But the pump that I started using at the beginning of this journey was my wearable Mom Cozy S12 Pro pump. I absolutely love that pump. I'm still using it to this day. The only thing was at around 3 months, I started to experience like clogging. I needed something with a little bit more strength, so that's when I opted for my Dr. Brown's pump that plugs right into the wall. Now, what my pumping looks like is during the day when I'm with Noah and it's just me home and my husband is at work, I will use my wearable Mom Cozy pump during the day because I'm able to just stick them in my pumping bra and be on the go to run around after Noah and play with him and do the things that I need to do around the house. But at nighttime, to make sure that I get everything out, I use my good strong wall pump. That has made a huge difference, and honestly, the relief that I get when I use my wall pump is amazing. Speaking about relief, I'd like to share some of the things that help me with pain relief, because that's a huge thing that we go through. I don't think it's really talked about enough how much pain you will experience or you can experience from breastfeeding. So in the beginning, when Noah was latching on like directly on my breast, I did experience like some soreness, not really too much, until I started pumping. And that's when I started to really get a lot of milk blebs and blisters on my nipples. Oh, it was just so painful. One thing that really helped me was lanolin. I used that. I just ordered it from Amazon. When my breast had become really engorged, when my milk had come in, it was so painful. One thing that really helped me was just putting like an ice pack or a cool cloth, and that really helped to subside the pain a bit. But one thing that I did not expect to happen that also isn't really talked about is that your nipples can change size over the course of the months that you breastfeed or pump. My nipple size did increase a little bit. So in the beginning, I needed to use inserts with my breast pump. I had to use like the 19 millimeter insert. The standard size that breast pumps usually come with is about 24 millimeters. So that was too large for me. So that was causing pain. So I had to use the insert. But then at around 4 months postpartum, I started to experience such an excruciating pain that would begin at the nipple and radiate through my breast tissue. It was honestly unbearable. The only thing that got me through it was a heating pad. I was actually experiencing what's called a vasospasm. Because I was using the wrong flange size, it was causing a lot of friction on my nipple, and it led to the most excruciating pain. Like, it was worse than the engorgement. If my nipples had like touched my shirt, if I wasn't wearing a bra, it would cause the worst excruciating pain to radiate all throughout my breast tissue. If you've experienced that, definitely re-measure your nipples if you've been breastfeeding for a few months, because they do change and they will increase in size. So the one thing that helped me the most when I was experiencing vasospasms is heat. I would put the heating pad on and it would help so much. It would like almost instantly take the pain away. Another thing that really helped with pain relief was just taking a nice warm bath and allowing my breasts to like soak in the warm water. That also really helped as well. But the thing is, with breast pain, you kind of just have to ride it out, because once you've been pumping or breastfeeding for so long, your breasts like almost go numb, and honestly, like, you really don't feel much. In the beginning, when I was first pumping, it hurt so much, and now like I will literally not feel a thing. I don't even know if it's working until I see like the milk filling up in the cups. Others, we don't get enough credit. The things that we do for our babies, we are superheroes. Another pump that I tried using was actually a manual pump by Philips Advent. I wanted to give that pump a try because I seen really good things about it on TikTok. I also had read that like using a hand pump can sometimes take out clogs. It can also get the milk out quicker. I tried it for a little bit. I did like it for those times when like my pump was dirty. I could just pull that out. But honestly, I really only used it for like a little bit for like certain instances. Like if my wearable pump like wasn't working or getting a clog out, I would just stand in the kitchen at like 4 a.m. and use my hand pump. But I will say that I do prefer the electric wearable pumps. I just feel like with the hand pump, you have to do one breast at a time. So even though like it is getting the milk out sort of quicker, you're taking the same amount of time because you have to do one breast at a time. So I just found it so much easier to wear my wearable pump while I could get things done around the house, do the dishes, clean the bottles, do what I had to do. It's hard to just like stand there and do nothing as a mom. There's things that we need to do. Power pumping. What is power pumping? How do you do it? Does it actually work? Power pumping honestly did work for me. It greatly increased my milk supply. If you don't know what power pumping is, it basically mimics when a baby cluster feeds. And cluster feeding basically signals to your body to produce more milk. It thinks that the baby's going through a growth spurt. Cluster feeding is when your baby is feeding on your breast like every 10 minutes. So power pumping sort of mimics that. So what I would do is basically pump for an hour in small increments. So when I was power pumping, I'd pump for 20 minutes and then I would stop for 10 minutes, pump for another 10 minutes, stop for another 10, and then pump for another 10. So basically this signaled to my body that Noah was cluster feeding and we needed more milk. I think I did this for about a month or two and then I stopped because my milk supply increased so greatly, so I didn't really need to continue on it. But if you feel like you want to increase your milk supply, maybe give it a try, because honestly, I really did see wonders for myself. To keep it completely real, the reality of being an exclusive pumping mom, there were honestly so many times when I wanted to just throw in the towel because I was so mentally and physically exhausted from this whole pumping journey. But the only thing that got me through was the love that I have for my baby boy, and I would do it all over again 10 times over. Now that I'm 11 months postpartum, like, I'm so freaking proud of myself. I'm literally like 2.5, 3 weeks away from pumping for a full full year. I'm really proud of myself. All my hard work paid off. But yeah, that's the reality of pumping. It's definitely like an internal battle of wanting to stop so much, but you know that it's the best thing to do for your baby, and you feel almost a little bit selfish to stop. The love we have for our children just keeps us going. Washing the pump parts was a huge reason why I wanted to throw in the towel. I hated washing the freaking pump parts. One thing that saved my mental sanity, you take your pump and just store it in the fridge right away when you're done pumping. Kind of just keep it in the fridge all day, and then at night wash it like right before you go to sleep. Like I wouldn't keep it in the fridge maybe for more than like 10 to 12 hours just during the day while I'm doing my pumps. Like I don't know if that's safe to do, if a doctor would recommend it, but I did do it with Noah when he was a newborn and he was perfectly fine. So if you think that you want to give that a try it out. It really did save me so much time and a lot of hassle with washing those pumps all the time. I think the hardest part with being a pumping mom is just planning your whole day around your pumping schedule, especially in those early days. Now that I'm 11 months postpartum, I can go like another hour or two without pumping and it's really not a big deal. But in those early days, it's important to establish your milk supply because your body is learning how much you're taking and how much your baby needs. Your body thinks how much you take is how much your baby needs. So it's really important to stick to your schedule in those early days. Not only because of that, but because if you don't, you will get things like infections and clogs, and that's no fun. Like I said in my other video, I did not expect to be an exclusive pumping mom. In my mind, this journey that I had imagined looked completely different. Noah was on my breast and his dad would only give him bottles when he was feeding him. I definitely wasn't expecting for him to be solely on bottles, but that's just how life works. That's how things go, right? So how much is Noah drinking now? Honestly, it depends on how much solids he's eating that day. Right now, he's not really on like a strict routine. Like I do offer him 3 meals a day, but it just depends what mood he's in. Like sometimes like he'll have a few bites and throw the rest on the floor. But right now, drinking out of the bottle, he'll usually drink about 20 to 25 ounces, give or take. Also using my breast milk to make his oatmeal twice a day. He has it before bed and he has it in the morning as well. And I use about 3 ounces of my breast milk to make his oatmeal. If you calculate it, he's probably having about 30 ounces of milk a day in total. And like I said earlier, as of right now, my milk supply is just sustaining him from his day-to-day consumption. I'm not producing any extra milk that is getting frozen as of right now. Would I even recommend exclusive pumping? Honestly, the answer to this question entirely depends on the person. It depends on your personal needs and what your lifestyle looks like. If you feel like you would feel a big sense of relief from allowing a trusted family member to feed your baby, it might be a good option for you. The thing that makes it really difficult about being an exclusive pumping mom, like I said earlier, is planning your whole day around your pumping schedule, washing pump parts, being on top of freezing the milk, making sure that it doesn't go bad, washing bottles, sanitizing bottles. All those things are things that you should consider before deciding to become an exclusive pumping mom. I think there are definitely pros and cons with both breastfeeding directly on your breast or solely being an exclusive pumping mom, and it's not that one outweighs the other. I think it just all depends on your lifestyle and what works best for you. If you are going back to work and you're a working mom, I think potentially being a pumping mom would be very ideal for you, because if somebody's going to be with your baby and them consuming your breast milk is a high priority for you, then pumping would definitely be very suitable for you, because you could just pump it and give the bottle to daycare staff or a family member or whoever will be with your baby while you're at work. If you are a mom who enjoys a little bit of freedom and would like a little bit of support and help and for somebody else to feed your baby, then pumping definitely would be ideal for you as well. If you hate the idea of washing pump parts, washing bottles, being on top of like milk storage and writing down dates and keeping the time to when the milk bottle has been out, then I think maybe breastfeeding directly on the breast would be a little bit more comfortable for you. If you hate the idea of like bringing a pump with you everywhere and just being tied to the wall with a pump, I would definitely maybe stay away from pumping or try to get your baby to latch. If you can, see a lactation consultant or try different tricks that you can do. To conclude that, I think it just depends on your personality, on your lifestyle, and what your situation looks like. Some things I wish I knew before becoming an exclusive pumping mom are that your supply can change depending on your hormones, if you're ovulating at that time, if you haven't gotten any rest, and that's perfectly normal. It doesn't mean that your milk is going to dry up. As somebody who has struggled with anxiety and OCD, that was something that worried me greatly. It's not something that necessarily should be so alarming. It's just our body fluctuates from time to time. Another thing that I wish I knew is that pumps that work for somebody else may not work for you. I noticed that the more I used my Dr. Brown's wall pump, that type of trumpet style pump actually made my nipples become more elastic, which did affect my milk supply. I noticed a big dip in my milk supply when I was only using my Dr. Brown's pump, but when I went back to my Mom Cozy S12 Pro, I noticed that my milk supply started to regulate and go back to normal. I think it just depends on your body, it depends on your nipples, it just depends on you. Everybody's different. It can be incredibly time time consuming. Basically, your whole day revolves around pumping. And the biggest thing, your worth as a mom isn't determined by how many ounces that you produce and the fact that you are a pumping mom. I felt like I had let myself down and like I had let my baby down by only being a pumping mom. I felt like he was going to miss out on this incredible bond and that I had missed out on this experience of being able to bond with my baby because he was directly on my breast. But what I wish I could tell myself if I could go back in time is that the amount of effort and love that I put into pumping is no small task to do. That is also something to be incredibly proud about. Even though it's not what traditionally breastfeeding your baby may look like, it's still something to be incredibly proud about. Honestly, when I started this journey all of those months ago, I had no idea that I would still be at it all these months later. But I must say that all these sleepless nights, all of the exhaustion, all of the pain, it all paid off because I have a very healthy, strong baby boy and my freezer is full of milk. And honestly, exclusive pumping has taught me so much about patience, persistence, and just being patient with myself. And it also has created such a respect and appreciation for my body. I have never been so proud and appreciative of my own body as to how I am now. It has honestly shaped me to who I am and I wouldn't change it for anything. And honestly, even though being an exclusive pumper came with so much headache and a little bit of heartache and grief for missing that bond with my baby, it has created such a strong sense of pride in myself and it has shaped me who I am today. And I'm just so grateful for the experience. And looking back, I'm just so proud of myself and you should be too. And if you're a breastfeeding mom, an exclusive pumping mom, or a formula feeding mom, you should be so incredibly proud of yourself because taking care of a small human, like I said in part 1, is no small feat. It is the best feeling seeing your baby grow and knowing that it came from your body and that you did that to nourish them. When I first started pumping, I honestly had no idea that I would be able to make it this far. There were definitely days when it felt so exhausting and difficult, but there have also been so many moments that I've been so proud of myself for continuing this journey. I'm so grateful that I've been able to provide Noah with my breast milk for this long, and whatever happens from here, I'm trying to remind myself that I've already done something really special. I hope sharing my experience makes you feel a little bit less alone and like you have a friend to sort of like talk about it with. Let me know if you guys like this type of content. I might make another video because I think there might have been like little important details that I might have missed out on. So if you guys have any questions or you want me to discuss more, just leave a comment down below and I will make another video discussing that. Also, if you like my video, I would really appreciate if you give me a like. And as always, thank you so much for spending a little bit of your day with me here at Meg's Cozy Corner. And if you like this video, I'd love for you to stick around and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one, friends. Bye!